Denmark, a small country of northern Europe located here, is one of the few kingdoms that remained in Europe, officially called the Kingdom of Denmark. Mainland Denmark is the southernmost of the Scandinavian Nordic countries. It consists of a peninsula named Jutland, and an archipelago of lots of islands with different dimensions. The islands are characterized by flat, arable land and sandy coasts, low elevation and a temperate climate. Geographically speaking, the country is located south of the Scandinavian peninsula and north of Germany. The whole Kingdom of Denmark also includes two other autonomous territories pretty far from its mainland, in the North Atlantic Ocean, the Faroe Islands, and Greenland. But before we move further, we want to give a big thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Raid is a brand new RPG game that you'll definitely enjoy. The game has an amazing storyline, great looking 3D graphics, incredible boss fights and PvP battles. You can choose from hundreds of champions to collect and customize as you wish. I prefer Athel due to her great skills and the way she looks. She's not the only awesome champion though, but in my opinion you should definitely try her out. Raid is a rapid growing game, attracting more and more players every day. By now, 10 million players worldwide have already downloaded the game in less than 6 months. The game is constantly updated, so you will not get bored playing it. Talking about gameplay, I can surely say that I'm impressed by its quality and graphics. Playing Raid is the most immersive experience you'll find on a smartphone, and it can only really be compared with the biggest PC and console titles. And the best part of all of this, it's totally free. With more than 300,000 reviews, Raid has almost a perfect score on the Play Store. This proves just how amazing the game is. The game is growing super fast, and the highly anticipated new Faction Wars feature is now live. And there's a new awesome rewards program for new players. Get a new daily login reward for the first 90 days. So be sure to click on our special link in the description and get 50,000 silver and an epic champion for free as a part of the new player program. Start your incredible journey now. Even if Denmark has an area around 40,000 square kilometers with its far territories, the total area including Greenland and the Faroe Islands is more than 2 million square kilometers. But how is this huge island, which is located in North America, a part of the Kingdom of Denmark? As other far possessions of other European countries, we may first think it is a former colony, and it didn't receive its full independence. A direct answer to this is yes and no. The situation is a little bit more complicated than that. But first of all, to understand the first links between the Nordic territories of Europe with Greenland, we have to get through some history to understand better. Before Danes, Norwegians, or Swedes on this Nordic land, some tough people lived here. These people were masters of trading, expansion, and conquering new lands. We may know them as Vikings. The Vikings were Scandinavian people from the 8th to 11th centuries, who raided, expanded, and traded throughout northern Europe and beyond. The period from the earliest recorded raids in the 790s until the Norman conquest of England in 1066. This is commonly known as the Viking Age of Scandinavian history. It's important to speak about the Vikings because they are the first people from the Scandinavian region to reach these lands. Viking navigators opened the road to new lands to the north, west, and east, resulting in the foundation of independent settlements in the Faroe Islands, Iceland, Greenland, and even a short-lived settlement in Newfoundland, around 1000. The Greenland settlement was established around 980 during the medieval warm period. Iceland was colonized by Norwegian Vikings starting in the 9th century. The first source that Iceland and Greenland appear in is a papal letter in 1053. It was not until after 1130, when the islands had become Christianized, that accounts of the history of the islands were written from the point of view of the inhabitants in sagas and chronicles. The Vikings were great explorers, and they even expanded in the northern islands and coasts of the North Atlantic, ventured south to North Africa, and east to Russia and Constantinople. They raided and pillaged, traded, acted as mercenaries, and settled wide-ranging colonies. In 1500, King Manuel I of Portugal sent Gaspar Corte-Real to Greenland in search of a northwest passage to Asia. In 1605 to 1607, King Christian IV of Denmark sent a series of expeditions to Greenland and Arctic waterways to locate the lost Eastern Norse settlement and assert Danish sovereignty over Greenland. The expeditions were mostly unsuccessful, partly due to the leaders who lacked experience with the difficult Arctic ice and weather conditions. and partly because the expedition leaders were given the instructions to search for the eastern settlement on the east coast of Greenland, just north of Cape Farewell, which is almost inaccessible due to southward drifting ice. After the Norse settlements died off, Greenland came under the de facto control of various Inuit groups, but the Danish government never forgot or relinquished the claims to Greenland that it had inherited from the Norse. When it re-established contact with Greenland in the early 17th century, Denmark asserted its sovereignty over the island. In 1721, a joint mercantile and clerical expedition, led by the Danish-Norwegian missionary Hans Egede, was sent to Greenland, not knowing whether a Norse civilization remained here. This expedition is part of the Dano-Norwegian colonization of the Americas. After 15 years in Greenland, Hans Egede left his son Paul Egede in charge of the mission there and returned to Denmark, where he established a Greenland seminary. This new colony was centered at Good Hope on the southwest coast. Gradually, Greenland was opened up to Danish merchants and closed to those from other countries. When the union between the crowns of Denmark and Norway was dissolved in 1814, the Treaty of Kiel severed Norway's former colonies and left them under the control of the Danish monarch. Norway and Denmark agreed to submit the matter in 1933 to the Permanent Court of International Justice, which decided against Norway. Greenland's connection to Denmark was severed on the 9th of April 1940. After Denmark was occupied on the 8th of April 1941, the United States occupied Greenland to defend it against a possible invasion from Germany. The United States occupation of Greenland continued until 1945. Greenland had been a very protected and very isolated society until 1940. The Danish government had maintained a strict monopoly of Greenlandic trade. Greenland was to be a modern welfare state, with Denmark as a sponsor and example. In 1953, Greenland was made an equal part of the Danish kingdom. Home rule was granted in 1979. The United States developed interest in Greenland, and in 1946, the United States offered to buy the island from Denmark for $100 million. Denmark refused to sell it. With the 1953 Danish Constitution, Greenland's colonial status ended as the island was incorporated into the Danish realm. Danish citizenship was extended to the Greenlanders. Danish politics toward Greenland consisted of a strategy of cultural assimilation. During this period, the Danish government promoted the exclusive use of the Danish language and required Greenlanders to go to Denmark for their post-secondary education. As a consequence of political complications in relations to Denmark's entry into the European Common Market in 1972, Denmark began to seek a different status for Greenland, resulting in the Home Rule Act of 1979. Greenland has more than 60 settlements. This gave Greenland limited autonomy, with its own legislature taking control of some internal policies, while the Parliament of Denmark maintained full control of external policies, security, and natural resources. The law came into effect on the 1st of May, 1979. In 1985, Greenland left the European Economic Community upon achieving self-rule, as it did not agree with the EEC's commercial fishing regulations and an EEC ban on seal skin products. The voters approved a referendum for a greater autonomy on the 25th of November, 2008. The vote of 2008 pushed Greenland closer to independence. On the 21st of June 2009, Greenland gained self-rule. Also, Greenlanders were recognized as a separate people under international law. Even if they were governing themselves, Denmark maintains control of foreign affairs and other diplomatic matters. Greenland is not exactly a part of Denmark as a city or as a province. It has a special status. To understand better the situation, we think this way. Greenland belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark in the same way that Scotland belongs to the United Kingdom. Greenland is an autonomous constituent country within the Danish kingdom, even if Greenland is geographically situated in North America continent, but geopolitically it is an island of Europe. The country has its own parliament. Since 1979, Greenland has had greater autonomy. However, its foreign policy and security are still controlled by Denmark. The native population of Greenland migrated to Greenland from Canada around 1000 BC. There is long history of Greenland, how it was ruled by inhabitants from different countries for thousands of years. In recent times, Greenland was originally ruled by Norway. after the Union of Denmark and Norway was dissolved in 1814. There was a brief controversy between Denmark and Norway over Greenland. In 1933, both countries agreed to bring the matter to the Permanent Court of International Justice, which ruled in favor of Denmark. Thus, Greenland became a colony of Denmark. In 1953, the colonial status was abolished, and Greenland became a Danish country ruled by the Danish capital, Copenhagen. Today, the country is mostly ruled by itself, but a part of the kingdom. If you want to see more videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell button in order to be notified when a new video is uploaded. We would like to give special thanks to our generous supporters on Patreon who make it possible to create these videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.